Good morning, everyone. It's Joker, and today we are back with another slime video. And today it is time to test out the brand new Light 3.0 Milim, the generic attack support buffer and blue converter, technically, yes. Quick overview of what she is. She's magic, she uses a book, she's attack growth. Her AoE is an ult that also lowers pierce resistance by 5%, which goes up to 10 if you get her to 6-star, which I do not recommend anybody do. Her first skill raises all allies' attack by 45%, so 5% more than Space Rimuru, and also lowers a single target's light resistance by 30%. So this will work very, very, very well on Light 3.0, and this will work pretty well on any other team that's not light, because you can get this 45% attack buff, which is more than Space Rimuru. And we know that I tout Space Rimuru as one of the best reroll targets for new players because of that, his 40% buff. This is extremely limiting to one or two teams, mainly one team, because the Light 2.0 team doesn't have the skill points to use another 55-point skill. Her second skill is like the free-to-play Water Rimuru skill, where she converts all of her own orbs to blues, and then buffs the gauge increase by 10%, which can come in very clutch. Like, would I have preferred her to be a straight-up green to blue orb changer? Yes. Are there times where this specific skill will come in more handy than just a green converter? Yes. But more often than not, it's less effective. You're going to have one orb, you're going to have no orbs, but you're going to have like two greens, but none of them are Milim, and you've already left her on, or the swap target is your DPS who you need to build up and you don't want to swap. There are many, many different ways where this skill could not be useful, but ways that it can be useful. And it just kind of, she's a very situational, but also generic support unit, if that makes any sense, because this orb change is situational, dependent on your RNG. This light resistance is situational based on using a light team, but then generic because of this attack buff. But just because she has this 45% attack buff does not mean that she is a must-have unit, because Space Rimuru is in the general pool. He is an OG unit, and it's only 5% off. And if you look really hard, most DPS units in this game at this point give themselves an attack buff already. Hinata, Velzard, Milim, the Space Milim, and the Dark Milim. Like, Xion, they all give themselves an attack buff. There's no need to bring another unit to give them more attack and sacrifice a spot that could be an orb changer or a different type of attack buffer. Like, it's just not, it's not necessary, especially since, except on, Xion's team, you won't benefit from the light resistance down, and only like two of those teams need blues, of which case you're just going to use Water Rimuru, right? Because he's just a superior orb changer. You can put her on the Water 2.0 team and have Hinata hit harder. Yes. You can put her on the Space team, Space 1.0, and Milim will hit harder. Yes. Is it necessary? No. So that's why I think she's not like a heavy target to summon for. Continuing on, her Valor trait removes 10% ult gauge if any enemy has an ult ready, which can be good and can be, unfortunately not as good as you would hope it to be. It goes up to 20% when you awaken her twice. Her actual trait is a 4-combo blues, increases her own crit rate by 5%, which the Light 3.0 team is not based on crits, and there's no one giving them crits, so, I mean, 5% crit rate up to 8%, like, whoop-de-fucking-do. Most of, like, Tempered Edge has an 80% crit resistance, so you don't want to crit, unless you can seal it, of which case there's no one on the Light team, dedicated Light team, that seals crit. So, like, this trait is next to useless. I don't understand. Like I said, if you get her up to 6-star, the pierce resistance on her ult goes up to 10%, and her EX effect is extra pierce power, which is useful, except she's an AoE, and she's a support unit, so unnecessary, but she is a team buffer on the EX board. So that's that out of the way. Let's just jump into the first video segment of her. Alright guys, to start off the Milim showcase, we're going to do something that we did actually in stream previously, and that is stack for a very, very long time. And then we're going to use the buffs that, you know, the team that I would normally use in Tempered Edge, and see how much damage we can do. So Milim is here. Milim is giving her support. We have definitely used her Orb Steel skill because it's capped at 100 right now. But we've also used her attack skill for 45% and the light resistance down on Veldora. Now, what is interesting to note is that we have a 999 skill cap, and we are at turn 34, which, you know, is not realistic for any actual fight in the game. But I thought it would be fun, and chat thought it would be fun, to test the boundaries of our damage output now that we have yet another attack buffer on this already pretty decently good DPS light team. So, Raphael has a 70% ult boost from Shuna. We have 340% pierce power and stun strike, with another 8% coming from the charm, 50% light attack from Leon, another the 45% from Milim, another 40% stun strike from, you know, Raphael's own skills, guaranteed pierce, and then Veldora up here has the light resistance and the ult resistance down. So we're going to determine, or we're going to find out actually, how much damage 330, well, essentially 34 stacks is going to do. So in the comments below, before, you know, we send this, let me know your guess for how much damage we're going to do. And I can guarantee you we're going to do a fuck ton. So I will give you 5 seconds to put your guess in the comments, and then you can continue the video. Please pause, or you don't have to pause and you can be spoiled and be spoil sports like that. Fuck you. Alright, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. We're going to send Milim first because she lowers pierce resistance, so we're going to do that first. We can watch Milim's ult for the first time because everything else in this video is going to be skipped. I know it's Orochi from, you know, Japanese mythology, but I like saying King Ghidorah because I like Godzilla stuff. So it's King Ghidorah multiplied. Alright, so Milim does 100 and, was that 1.2? Was that 1.2 million on Milim's AoE? How many stacks did Milim have? Alright, here we go. Here's what we actually care about. Shining Earth, 34 stacks, all the buffs, does... Was that 3.5 million damage? Was that 3.5 million damage? Alright, so in a more realistic damage test scenario, not, you know, the first segment that I showed you guys, we're in EX2 with the light team. We're going to compare damage between having Milim and using her buff versus not using her buff. So here we're on turn 8, we have 6 stacks of Shuna. We've already applied all the debuffs minus the attack buff from Milim. So let's see how hard Raphael hits here, and then how much we do afterwards when we get that 45% buff and the light resistance down. So Raphael's normals do 31k, and then the ult does 338k. So I mean, definitely could be more. We had the ult buff, we had the light buff, we had the stun strike and pierce, and then the ult resistance down. So 338k is a respectable, you know, a respectable amount. He has a lot of HP. But let's see if we can cover that remaining 100k with Milim's skill. So we'll be back on the same turn with the same setup, just with an extra buff or 2. Alright, we are back, turn 8 again. Another 6 stacks of Shuna. However, we have now, you know, used Milim's attack buff, which also has the light resistance down up here. We've got the ult resistance down, the light buff, the attack buff, the ult buff. So we're going to ult with Milim first because, 1, I want to see her damage with all these buffs active, just, you know, because it's her showcase. And 2, she also lowers pierce resistance by 5% on her ult, which means that Raphael will hit harder. So let's go ahead and send this. He has 577,000 HP left. We know the Raphael did like 300-ish K last turn. So let's see if we can cover that extra, I think, 100k that we were missing. We're going to send these two. So Milim will go first, and she does 125 by herself, which is fairly good for an alt. And then Raphael does 555k. So definitely a tiny bit more than the 300k that we did the last time. So yes, Milim can make Raphael look godly. That is a crap ton of damage for not a lot of effort. Not a lot of effort at all. I mean, yes, that's very good on this one specific team. But now let's instead take her off of the light team and use her in a few other scenarios that may not be as optimal for her, but where she can still at least contribute to the support. Alright, so in the first segment of using the new Milim as a support, we're going to bring her on the Space 1.0 team. Veldora, the Hero, Carrion, Shuna, Space Milim, and then Light Milim. Now, I mentioned earlier that a lot of the primary DPS units nowadays have their own attack buff, and the same is true for Space Milim, because she gives herself a 20% attack buff, which is pretty good, especially when you put Drago on her, and it's actually like 24% or something like that. But how about if we use Drago and a 45% attack buff, which is then probably going to be closer to like a 57% buff or something along those lines. So that would mean that she would just hit harder. And people have put, Space Rimuru on this team instead as an attack buffer, because one, he's space, and two, he's an attack buffer, and it's higher than what this 20% personal buff is. And it works, right? And we're also going to benefit from the fact that Milim is also, that blue converter, which we have two converters here, but they're both orange. So we're going to try and make her the dedicated green and try and set it up to a way that we can just change all of her orbs to greens while having two other buffers. We're going to see how this works. We're on EX2 of the Space Tempered Edge, not 3, because I don't know how well she would hold up at level 80 in type neutral. So let's go ahead and try it out. Alright, let's see how this goes. Starting hand isn't the greatest in the world. I did forget to hit the record button, so all we have done so far is swap out Carrion for the new Milim. That's it. So we're going to send these oranges here and pray that we get blues, not a counterattack. I don't want those. Well... Ooh, that's a lot of damage. Well, we're 2 points off, unfortunately, from an actual perfect orb chain. So you know what, let's steal here. And then let's send this blue, and that'll get us enough points next turn for an orb change with her. Alright, the hero's been debuffed, that's fine. She's taking a lot of damage, so please kindly get the fuck out of here. Alright, so you're gonna come in for the new Milim. You're gonna come in for bitch-ass Shuna. I swear to God I have gear on her, but she has type disadvantage, so... Alright, there's 2 stacks right there. Milim has guard, Milim has physical and magic resistance that pops in every like 5 turns or so. So we gotta be wary of that. That's also not the greatest hand in the world. Alright, we have 55 points, which means that we are not orb changing this turn. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna essentially just leave this up here. Let's do that. We have green orbs incoming, which is obviously not good. Alright, Milim got nerfed. And let's send these greens, and hopefully next turn after the ult we can get blues, or maybe a good orb change with the new Milim. There's that. Okay, so turn 5, all our defense is leaving, but we are in no place to nuke right now. Alright, I can accept that hand. Alright, we can accept that. So let's do a rewind and this orb change. And then we're going to bring Shuna in for the hero, who doesn't have an orb. And then we'll use her orb change. This will get us Milim's ult, which is good. Also get us almost 2 more stacks of Veldora. But then we're going to have to wait a good amount of turns before her magic resistance goes away, before we can do, you know, proper full damage. And there's that. Oh, that, okay, yeah, that works out. So we can do another stack here. Perfect. And then we can get our low health Milim out of here, or low health Shuna out of here, for Milim, while also stealing those 2 orbs, using all the points we made back. And then we'll do this. That ended up pretty good, and we got a double stack of Eldora again, and almost full points. But she's going to put her magic resistance back up here, which means we just have to now tank. Tank and not kill, and wow, another good hand. Alright, we're getting pretty lucky. But yeah, now she has all her resistances back, so physical and magic for another 4 turns. So we just have to outlast this. So we're going to bring the hero back up front, and we're just going to sit here and, you know, receive as little damage as possible. Obviously, we can put this Milim up front for a little bit. It might, you know, might be efficient. What's next orb? It's another blue. So, I mean, we could do this. We could do this and just steal and get more stacks. Or just use an orb change right here, because it's cheaper. Alright. This works out. We're at 5 stacks right now. Carrion is getting a little low, so we'll probably have to swap him out for Space Milim. Alright, this Milim's been lowered. Not doing as much damage now. So yeah, let's get you out of here. Get this other stack on, and then we have to wait a couple more turns. So send these greens. Pop, pop, and pop. What is that? What did she just do? Alright, it's gone. Alright, 2 more turns before we can nuke. We can do it. We can wait. We have enough points that we can use the full combo, right? We only needed 275, and we're sitting at 340. All these greens. Alright, so hopefully whoever gets hit can survive this ult, because we kind of need everyone, right? Alright, let's see. Alright, good. As long as she doesn't die on the follow-up. Perfect, alright. The attack buff is gone. Her defenses are gone. Turn 11 is a long time, but we are ready to do this now. So let's use the crit resistance down and crit. We'll use space, we'll use Drago, we'll use the attack. The light resistance obviously isn't going to matter on this team, but we'll do that. And then let's check out how much extra buff we get from Drago on that attack buff. So 54%, alright, not quite as high as I thought it was going to be, because I said like 57, but 54 is definitely better than 40 or 20, or whatever it would have been with Drago. So let's bring you up here for the ult buff, and then we'll get Carrion in here for the crit damage, which will again be amplified by the Drago effect. And then this Milim is about to hit the dirt. Alright. Milim has 99,000 HP left. Not anymore. 322, which is decent. We would have killed her regardless. We didn't need the extra attack buff there. But she did work for her orb changing. And she did, you know, in fact, give us more DPS. So there's the first team that we can use her support. Let's move on to the second team that I have lined up now. Alright, for the last segment of the video, I'm going to take an older team and try and give it a little bit of extra help. So we're going to run essentially the Earth 1.0 team. We've just replaced Hakuro with Toa because she's just the better version of him. We've got the hero, we've got Earth Soe, we've got Earth Valentine as our primary DPS, we've got Earth Benimaru for hopefully the Orb Steel, and then we've got Milim for the attack buff, because what this Valentine does not do is give herself an attack. She gives herself magic attack, which we can then supplement with Milim's attack buff and the hero's crit buff, and she can probably do good damage. I actually haven't used this yet at all, so we'll see how we do. I remember the Earth Tempered Edge stage being kind of a bitch when it first came out. So let's see if this is even viable, because I don't actually know, and we need more stamina. Alright, let's try it out, though. Okay, turn 1, it looks interesting. So I think what we're going to do is we're going to do this, and we're going to send these Milim orbs, and pray that we get, the hero gets her normal increased orb rate, and she gets at least one more, and then we can swap Benimaru, and then swap Valentine in. So let's pray for the best, right? And it worked. Soe is stunned, that's fine, we're gonna steal his orb anyway. The greens are nerfed, though, which I totally forgot about, and we have no oranges. So that will put a little bit of a damper on our party. But let's go ahead and use the... Ooh, I actually can't use rewind because we need to use the steel. So let's do this. Let's yoink those orbs away. Lower the earth resistance. Now we just have a whole bunch of nerfed greens, which honestly is not the best, and this will not get us her ult, but it's a start, at least. So pop, 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 pop. This will get us, a decent amount of protection gauge, and she's over half, so I mean, it's okay. Damage is not great, though. I know that I think turn 5 is when we have to kill one of these guys, otherwise they both nuke us. Alright, so now Milim is stunned. I don't remember them stunning so much. I honestly don't. Okay. So I guess we can do that again. So let's get the hero back in here for Valentine. We know we have 4 orbs for Milim coming in, so we can just do this. And then I guess next turn we can rewind? Yeah, we're gonna need to get her out, so... Okay. Do we have enough to use a steel? No, we don't. Alright, unfortunate. Alright, so let's do this. So we're gonna take you out for you. We're going to steal. Take that one Soe orb, and then we'll bring Valentine back in again. And then this will get us her ult. This will get us double Toa right here. And I think we'll be looking good to at least try and take out Benimaru next turn with a whole bunch of buffs. Yeah, we should have enough to use just about everything. And we'll see how much damage we can do against him. He's going to have, I think, his defensive buffs, but we don't want to leave him alive. Because his AoE will hurt a lot. a lot. Alright, so let's go... Magic resist down on you. Alright, and then let's do... let's do the 1 protection gauge, 1 Toa. Change all those. Unfortunately, we have no other Val orbs, which we have enough. I might try and give them away using Soe, but no guarantee. And then we do that, and then we'll bring in Milim for the hero, which we're not going to have enough points. And we don't need to use Soe's crit because we've already given ourselves crit from the hero. And then we can use the attack buff here. And then we'll see how much damage we can do. This will get Soe's ult next turn. That's something. We'll get you out. Do we have enough to use his buff? We do not. Unfortunate. Alright. So, Valentine has pierce resistance, fine, magic attack, crit damage, crit rate, and a 45% attack buff, and then we have the magic debuff, light resistance down, which again doesn't matter. And then, what else is there? A crit resistance. Alright, cool beans from the hero. Alright, so let's see how much damage we do against this Benimaru. This is the first time we've used Val today, so we'll watch it. As far as what I think, maybe we do 100k? Maybe? We've got crit and, a decent amount of attack, but it's still not like a perfect stacking team. 82-9, which is enough to kill, so thank God for that. I guess that's all that matters, is just killing. 82k is still not great, though. I mean, those are two major buffs. The hero buff and then the attack buff, and then her own magic buff. I kind of expected 100, and we didn't get 100. Unfortunate. Thankfully, that didn't do a lot. Alright. Soei's got an ult. Let's try and... I don't really know how to... Yeah, okay. We don't have any orb changers, really, except for the Milim, right? We have an orb stealer, we have an orb giver, and then we have this orb converter, so... Let's save Soei for a little rainy day. Hold that back there. And we'll try and just get back up to another Toa meter, while also building up to another Val ult. Okay, Betty Mario has been binded. Interesting. Alright. Let's do the hero orbs again. And then, okay, we've got, another bind. You've been rebinded. And, well, hold on. Actually, no, that wouldn't work now, would it? Alright, well, at least we'll get Val's ult. We'll have 2 ults ready. That's 140 points. If we wanted to use both buffs again, we would need 75, and so we need 150. So we would need two protection gauges again. I don't think we really need to do that, so let's bring Soei back for the hero for Betty Mario. And then let's bring Milim back in for the hero. Let's give us another of the attack buff, and then we'll use Soei's crit buff, and we'll see, how much he can do. He has a 4-star Awakened Sword, and he's giving himself guaranteed crits. He's got a 45% attack buff. He'll have the crit damage as well. We could also use Valentine's magic buff as well, in case Soei doesn't kill. So let's send Soei first, and then we'll send Val, and then that will be the end of the video, probably. Soei, you really don't see this ult very often. Except we just saw it when he ulted us, so I guess it counts. But, how much do we do here with Soei? 42-6. Alright, and then he didn't kill. And Valentine did 49. Alright, I mean, yes, it did work. Nobody died, and we killed both of them. Not impressive damage, but this is an old team with not... Like, when it came out, it didn't have really any buffs, right? It had Soei giving himself guaranteed crits, and then Valentine with the magic buff, and that's it. So that is, an upgrade in damage output from Earth 1.0. Sadly, pretty much every team after that shits on it, so I don't know why you would run this team. You would run Earth Val and Valor Cup, you would run her as a DPS for something, but not this dedicated team. But at least we know that it can help out, because otherwise we would have done much less damage. So, I think that will wrap it up for this showcase of Milim. We got a few different instances of her. We got a very, very wanked out, unrealistic thing for funsies, and then we got her best team setup, which definitely helps. Like, it took Raphael from 300k to 500k. Like, 200k extra for 55 points, again, is not insignificant. But it's only if you have the Light 3.0 team. Otherwise, she's a competent support, but not necessary, because there are other units that do what she does that are much easier to pull because they're in the general pool, or they're just less restricted. So, let me know what you guys think of the New Year's Milim. Do you think that she's as, kind of underwhelming as I do, or do you think that she actually has a place on every single team with her skill set? Let me know, but that's it for me, guys. Take it easy, and I'll see you later.